In this video, you are going to learn the top tip that many people don't know about that can increase your apprenticeship chances, moving you from the B list to the A list. Well, most of you will be familiar with how to go and find apprenticeships, either going onto the government apprenticeship website and registering on there and searching through vacancies. If you check out our other videos, you'll be able to see that. Or you might actually go and use local websites which have got lists of vacancies. You might talk to local training providers, or you might even go and talk to employers directly to see if they can employ you, or you might get some work experience to open the door to being offered an apprenticeship. All of these are good things that you can do to help you find an apprenticeship. But there is a hidden top tip which I'm going to share with you in this video. So basically, the top tip, what you can do is get yourself onto the Institute of Apprenticeships and Technical Education. Get onto there and you will find a listing of all the different apprenticeships that are out there which you can search. And a lot of young people will dive straight into the listings and have a look there to see what's there. You have a particular job in your head, like a carpenter or something like that. You're typing carpenter and up will come the Apprenticeship Standards, which will tell you what you need to do to become a carpenter and all the information available. Now, what you can do instead on the home page is click on Occupational Maps. Now you click into there and then click on the area that you're interested in, and suddenly you will have a list of all of the different sorts of apprenticeships that are out there in the area that interests you. Now, how can this help you? Well, let me take you through the basics here. So often, when we're looking for a job vacancy, we might have an idea in our head of what we think that we want to do, and we will search that one job. For example, like carpenter that we've used already, or you might be interested in, say, architecture, and you'll just search architect. But what we have a danger of doing, what we a risk of doing, is not looking a bit wider, because if you like one job in that area, it is likely that other related jobs might interest you as well. Now, what the occupational maps are brilliant at doing is broadening our understanding of what else is out there. So if you like carpenter, what are the other jobs that are similar? And then you can start to find out what they are like, do a little bit of research, and then if you like the sound of them, also apply for those. Now, what this does in real terms is increase the scope of the apprenticeships you're searching for from one very small area to a much wider area. So you open up your ideas of possibilities and what's out there, and you discover that which you don't know. Now, this is really helpful because new apprenticeship standards are coming online all the time, and different standards are used for different job roles. So it also gives you a list on the actual standards, the names of the different jobs that might be used by that standard. Again, it's another way of discovering of other jobs that you could do, or you might not have realised that the terms were similar. This is the Institute of Apprenticeships and Technical Education. Now, what you can do is that you can go in here and you can search up different, basically, apprenticeship standards. So for example, I've written in carpentry and it comes up with carpentry, the level 2, and the advanced carpentry and joinery level 3. Now, that's what a lot of young people do, and you can click into that and you can click into your standard. And once you've clicked into your apprenticeship standard, you can then see what's happening in terms of whether it's being revised or not. You can see how much funding is available. You can link directly to apprenticeships to search for, and then also gives you different names for these typical jobs that are out there as well. So it gives you a lot of information, as well as employers who've been used in developing it. So it's really, really useful stuff that you've got here. But what a lot of young people miss doing is on this first page here, on this home page, you have the occupational maps. Now you click into the occupational maps like this. So you give it a click and it loads up, and you can print these out if you wanted to, and then you can choose the area that interests you, and they're all here, and there's loads. So for example, we can click into construction and you can start to see how the apprenticeships are broken down. We have the technical occupations, the higher technical occupations, and the professional. Then what it tells you on these, with these little ticks here, which ones are currently live. So if we're going down and we want to see which ones are live, we can scroll through and we can look up different jobs. So you've got here the building services engineering pathway, but you also go down further, you've got the design surveying and planning pathway, and you go further and you've got the on-site construction pathway, so you can start to explore which ones interest you and then look at other jobs in those pathways. So for example, if we were to look at the on-site construction pathway, we can see down here that, you know, we will have a whole host of different jobs at different levels that we can actually kind of access and start to explore. So we've got the core building tradespeople. So for example, you've got your carpentry here, but you've got things like your bricklaying and stuff like that as well. Okay, now what you might go is, hang on a minute, I quite like the look of being a carpenter or bricklayer, and then suddenly you see construction, assembly and installation operative, including the permanent modular buildings, precast concrete, things like that, timber frame. Now this is a job that you might not necessarily think of, but it's there. So if you've ever seen any of those TV programs about the amazing designs of, you know, new architectural buildings and buildings are built off site, this is the apprenticeship for those people who assemble those buildings off site. Absolutely brilliant. And then it tells you down here which type of employers are involved with that, who you could contact. Fantastic. And you can then see whether those people were actually available in the area that you work in, and it gives you other names for different different versions of these jobs. So for example, a precast installer, a timber frame erector, an assembly operative. Now I'm not sure how many of us, even as careers advisors, would know to search for those terms, but once you've got those terms, you can put them into the apprenticeship searches that you're doing and start to search for those operatives and throw up those apprenticeships, widening your opportunities. We can go back into the occupational maps as well, and we can see more. So for example, we can see here that the bricklayer is already approved for delivery. So if we click on there, it will open up and it will tell us it's approved. Yep, okay, and ready to run, and any updates that are going on. If, however, we go down to the level 3, we know that this is still being worked on, so it's got a little spanner symbol there. So we click on that and we can see that it's not yet ready for delivery, but it tells you what's currently happening, so it can tell you what's happening next in that area that you're interested in. This is particularly useful for things like, say, being a bricklayer, that you might decide to go in as a level 2 bricklayer and then later aim to become a craft bricklayer at level 3, knowing that that apprenticeship will go live in the future. So it's really useful information here that you can dig into, and there's loads of stuff here that you can really explore. This bit here, for example, also gives you an example of the apprenticeship standard that's used, but then the different jobs that come under it. So for a stonemason at level 2, this apprenticeship standard is used for a banker stonemason, a heritage stonemason, a memorial stonemason, a stone facade preservation, etc., and so on. Yeah, so we can start to really discover what is out there, and that's the magic of these occupational maps. They really help us discover those things that we don't know. So you can use these occupational standards to really understand what else is out there. What you can also do to see, when you click on the standards, you'll be able to see whether those standards are approved and they're ready to run, or whether they're in development and going to be online soon. This is incredibly helpful if you're particularly wanting to get into an area. So for example, we've seen this with bricklaying, that the level 3 apprenticeship, the craft one, is still currently, looking to go live soon, but there's the level 2 that's already sort of sitting there and ready to run. And we can see that by looking on this website. So it tells you what's currently happening now. So get yourself on that website, find out what else is out there, and use those terms, those things that you discover, to go and explore and give yourself a much greater opportunity. And this is our top tip. So I hope that helps, and I wish you all the best with your apprenticeship hunting. Take care.